U.S. President holds press conference on military operation in Venezuela.
Boosting Vietnam-Philippines trade and investment.
Enhanced regulation of goods in mountainous regions.
Hello everyone, you are watching today's news on NTV channel. My name is Đăng. Let's get started. At noon on January 3rd local time, U.S. President Donald Trump held a press conference announcing a U.S. military operation in Venezuela. He stated that all Venezuelan military forces has been neutralized and that President Nicolas Maduro could be punished by the United States.
Late last night,
in a speech lasting about 20 minutes, President Trump praised the U.S. military operation, which involved the Air Force, Navy, and Army, with the participation of around 300 aircraft. He said Venezuela had been completely overwhelmed and that U.S. forces suffered no casualties. President Maduro and his wife were arrested and are being transported to New York. President Trump added that the situation is now under control, but warned the United States is ready to launch a second operation on a much larger scale, if necessary. He also said the U.S. would administer Venezuela and maintain a military presence until what Washington considers a safe and proper transition is carried out. The United States stressed it would not allow a new leadership to take power only for Venezuela to fall back into instability, and announced that U.S. oil companies would be allowed to make major investments in the country.
According to the Yonhap news agencies, South Korea National Security Council held an emergency meeting on January 4th after reports that North Korea fired ballistic missiles into the seas of the country's east coast earlier that day.
Earlier, South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said North Korea fired multiple ballistic missiles into the waters east of the Korean Peninsula on the morning of January 4th. The missiles reportedly traveled about 900 kilometers before landing in the sea. South Korean and U.S. authorities are jointly analyzing details of the launches. The South Korean military said it remains on high alert and is sharing information on North Korea's ballistic missiles with the United States and Japan, while stepping up surveillance for further launches. The National Security Office under the Presidential Office also held an emergency meeting and issued a statement urging North Korea to halt such actions.
On the afternoon of January 3rd at the government headquarters, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính received Philippine ambassador for a farewell visit at the end of his term in Vietnam. The Prime Minister praised the ambassador for his positive contributions to strengthening bilateral relations in recent years.
Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính congratulated Ambassador Montalegre on successfully completing his term, despite challenges caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and other complex developments. He commended the ambassador's active role in promoting Vietnam-Philippines ties. To further advance the strategic partnership between the two countries, the Prime Minister called for stronger high-level and multi-level exchanges through all channels. He also proposed closer coordination to develop practical action programs, marking 10 years of the strategic partnership in 2025 and 50 years of diplomatic relations in 2026. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính reaffirmed that Vietnam remains a reliable partner and a stable rice supplier to the Philippines, and suggested discussions toward a long-term, stable rice trade agreement. He also called on the Philippines to continue strongly supporting ASEAN's common position on the East Sea and to work closely with Vietnam at regional and international forums, including ASEAN, the United Nations, and APEC.
Coming up next are some updated news.
On January 3, 2026, responding to questions about Vietnam's reaction to the current situation in Venezuela, Foreign Ministry spokesperson Pham Thu Ham said Vietnam is deeply concerned about recent developments in the country. She called on all parties to exercise restraint, engage in dialogue, and resolve disputes and differences in accordance with international law, contributing to peace, security, stability, and cooperation in the region and worldwide. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs also advised Vietnamese citizens to carefully consider travel to Venezuela at this time. Vietnamese nationals currently in Venezuela are urged to leave dangerous areas, closely monitor official information, strictly follow local authorities' regulations on movement, and comply with warnings issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Today, January 4th, the final day of the 2026 New Year holiday, Tan Son Nhat International Airport recorded a sharp rise in passenger numbers. Airport authorities estimate that a total of 139,212 passengers will pass through the airport today. Earlier figures show that about 117,000 passengers were served on January 1st, nearly 120,000 on January 2nd, and around 127,000 on January 3rd. This makes January 4th the busiest day of the New Year holiday period. To meet the surge in travel demand, Tan Son Nhat Airport operators have increased staffing levels, opened additional check-in counters, and strengthened coordination among security forces, ground services, and airlines to ensure flight safety, maintain security and order, and minimize congestion during the post-holiday peak.
Despite difficulties caused by natural disasters and fluctuations in production and business, Nghệ An recorded strong budget revenue in 2025. Total revenue reached over 29.2 trillion VND, equal to 164.8% of the target and up 14.3% year-on-year. The figure surpassed the initial target of 26 trillion VND and brought the province close to the 30 trillion VND milestone, an important milestone in local financial management. The result reflects effective revenue management, resource mobilization, and sustainable growth measures. On average, Nghệ An collected more than 2.4 trillion VND per month, showing a stable and consistent revenue pace without heavy reliance on one-off factors.
As the lunar year comes to an end, consumer demand rises sharply, especially for household goods. Some traders take advantage of this busy period to sell low-quality products with unclear labels in mountainous areas. To protect consumers, local authorities and relevant agencies have stepped up inspections and supervision, strictly enforcing regulations to prevent substandard goods from being sold in highland and remote regions.
Along roads leading into Minh Tien village in Luang Minh commune, many mobile sellers bring in goods and sell them openly every day. Common items such as pots, pans, household products, and clothing are sold at low prices. Many items are cheaper than those sold in Hoa Binh. The quality may not be good, but people still buy them because they are cheap. As demand increases, especially for household goods, some people take advantage of border crossings and family visits to illegally bring goods into Vietnam. In response, authorities have increased checks at border gates and small crossing routes to prevent violations. Before, during, and after the Lunar New Year, we will deploy all personnel to guard trails and unofficial routes, with strict control at Nam Can border gate to stop substandard goods and illegal fireworks from entering Vietnam. Better transport conditions have made travel and trade more convenient, but many people still struggle to distinguish genuine goods from fake ones. To protect consumers, close coordination is needed between market management forces and authorities at all levels to inspect, detect, and prevent counterfeit and substandard goods, especially during the busy year-end shopping season.
This is the end of the show today. Thank you for watching.